Man, if things keep going this way, this game is going to get more and more interesting. What is up, Fin fans? Miami Dolphins, Monday Night Football, prime time, taking on the New Orleans Saints. They're doing their blackouts, all wearing black jerseys. Going to be very, very interesting. Tons and tons and tons to talk about. But I do have to shout out some people before we jump into the video. On the Patreon side, Fins Up 420. Thank you so much for joining the Patreon, brother. I really do appreciate that. On the member side, Mary Price. Thank you very, very much for joining the membership. If you guys want to join the membership, you can hit the join button next to the subscribe button. And if you want to join the Patreon side, that is linked below. There's a difference between the two. Different perks and all that stuff, and I am going to be boosting them both up, so you can go check those out and join if you would like. So let's jump into this, because again, like I said, there's a lot to talk about. I went over on Pro Media Network. I'm going to link him below, his YouTube channel. He's a Saints YouTuber, fantastic guy. We had a great conversation yesterday. Go check him out. Very, very, very awesome discussion. Got a little intel on the Saints from there. When it comes to injury report, right? We're going to jump into the injury report. But before we talk about the actual injury report, the Saints got bombarded with COVID list. What does that even mean? A lot of their players are now on that COVID list. Two of importance is Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian. They're going to go with Ian Book as their quarterback against the Dolphins. This guy, I think he's a 4th rounder quarterback taken out of Notre Dame, has not thrown a professional NFL pass yet. I think he played a little preseason, but he has not NFL regular season thrown a professional pass. But they have a ton of guys on that COVID list. They have guard James Carpenter, linebacker Caden Ellis, safety Jeff Heath, again Taysom Hill, defensive end Jalen Holmes, safety Malcolm Jenkins, their top safety tackle Jordan Mills, defensive tackle Christian Ringo, and again the other quarterback in Trevor Siemian. They did place tight end Adam Trotman on the list, as well as tight end Juwan Johnson. They're dealing with a lot when it comes to that. The Miami Dolphins also have a few on there with Coleman, our slot corner. He's on there. Robert Jones, the tackle. And if you guys didn't notice, he was actually playing a lot of the games last week against the Jets. He was lined up outside of Jesse Davis to help with the run game there. Dokes is still on there. They put Sathan Carter on there. Greg Maines is on there. And Duke Riley is now on the COVID list. And the way that we're going to go into the injury report, but Saints got hit hard. And the fact that they're playing, this rookie quarterback is going to be big. And I'm going to talk about that in the 5 things. And I'm going to talk about it in my prediction. But it's big. It's big for the Saints not to have either of their starting quarterbacks, whether it be Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill. But being that the Dolphins are playing on Monday night, the practice is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So you're watching this on Friday, which means yesterday it's an estimation. Thursday is if they would or if they wouldn't practice. So we're going to jump into the injury report and look at the Miami Dolphins. Albert Wilson didn't participate, but for a personal matter, he's not injured. And then we have Philip Lindsay and Adam Shaheen. They were limited. Hopefully they can come back. And then full practices for Jesse Davis, Brandon Jones, Zach Sealer, and Trill Williams. Also, Javon Holland was at practice Thursday. Fantastic. So it's awesome to see that Jalen Waddle and Javon Holland back at practice. We get our top notch on both sides of the ball. Very, very, very big. So now looking at the New Orleans Saints injury report, both of their tackles, and Ryan Ramczyk and Teron Armstead, would not have participated, and it doesn't seem good for them, both of their knees. And then DeMarcus Davenport and wide receiver Jaquan Smith limited for them, and then Marcus Williams full participation if there was practice for them yesterday. So not only are they dealing with a ton of players on their COVID list, but they're also dealing with 2 of their top starting tackles being injured. So all of a sudden, the Saints offense that was being run by Taysom Hill is just more and more taking a hit. So with that being said, let's jump into the 5 things that the Miami Dolphins need to do if they want to beat this Saints team. And this is pivotal for them to continue to be on the track to hopefully make the playoffs And the number one thing I have, and again, this is not from most important to least important, it's just the list I made while I was doing my research. The number one thing I have on the list, though, is take Ian Book seriously. If you go into this game, kind of like, I don't remember what team didn't take Mike White seriously, and then the Jets beat him. I don't remember who. Maybe it was the Bengals. I think it was the Bengals. You got to take Book seriously. You don't think of it as, oh, this guy barely knows what he's doing. He's barely played in the NFL. If that, he's going to be inexperienced. We're going to we're going to destroy him. Because he also has a little bit of speed behind, under his belt. So he's someone you need to take seriously. Don't overlook him. Fun fact: Brian Flores coached him in the Senior Bowl. So there's a little bit more knowledge of Ian Book coming from Brian Flores and the Dolphins coaching staff, coaching him in the Senior Bowl. So that might help a little bit, but don't not take him seriously, essentially. Because this is an incredibly important game. The next 3 games are incredibly important. Just keep winning. It feels fantastic. Just keep doing it. The number 2 thing, they got Ian Book in there. They don't have their starting quarterback, whether it is Simeon or Taysom Hill. And the biggest thing on that offense that scares the crap out of me, Alvin Kamara. You have to stop him. You have to contain him. Don't let him run all over you. Don't let him get open in the backfield. Don't let him take over that game. Because if you stop Alvin Kamara, if you make them a one-dimensional offense, and if you put the game and put the ball in Book's hands, then you can send those exotic blitzes. Then you can mess with his head. Brian Flores on defense is very good at getting into opposing quarterbacks, especially rookies' heads, and messing with them and taking over that game. So Alvin Kamara is the only piece of that offense that really scares me. Because if he takes over the game, if the Dolphins can't stop the run, and all of a sudden Alvin Kamara's just running it down the defense's throats, and all of a sudden the defense starts to get tired and they start scoring rushing touchdowns, then all of a sudden it doesn't become a defensive game that I think it's going to become. It becomes Dolphins are trying to catch up against a very good defense. That being said, my number 3 thing on the list, take the points. I know we want touchdowns. I know we want to get in the end zone and just put the score up, but take the points. There was a few games where Brian Flores ended up not kicking a field goal in some instances, and it bothered me, and I don't understand why he didn't do it, and all these things. This is the type of game you just have to take the points. The New Orleans Saints have a very, very, very good defense. I will talk about that when I break down my score prediction, but you got to take the points. And you got to take the points if they're there. And that also not only just goes with field goals, but if he's open, my man, to it, you got to take them points. There was a play last week with Gesicki, threw in triple coverage, and he had Parker open across the back of the end zone. You got to check these things out. You got to take these points, especially if the Saints defense makes that little bit of a hiccup and allows someone to get open like that and allows for potential points. You got to take them because they're not going to come often. And take them and try to get this win. The number 4 thing the Dolphins need to do, if we're taking points, if we're taking people seriously, if we're stopping Kamara, you can't make mistakes. There's so many plays that the mistakes happen and it bites us in the butt. Duke Johnson rushes for about 15 yards, comes back. Hunter Long holding. Next play, pick 6 from Tua. Cannot make mistakes. There's so many plays where we get the first down on a great play, all of a sudden comes back because of holding. Throws an interception, fumbles the ball, defensive pass interference, offensive pass interference, negates good plays. Cannot make mistakes, especially when we're getting further into the season, hopefully the postseason, and we're going up against really good teams in the New Orleans Saints and now the Tennessee Titans, who just beat the 49ers, and then the final week against the Patriots, who have a very good defense as well. No mistakes. And my 5th and final thing here, Duke Johnson, 100 yards last week. Can we do it again against the Saints? It'll be surprising, but you do need to run the ball. And especially if it starts to work and if Philip Lindsay does play and all of a sudden, it's Duke Johnson and Philip Lindsay, or just a nice 1-2 punch where we're getting like 5 yards a carry, run the ball. Don't make it into let's overthink it and let's trick them. They're expecting us to run the ball here, so let's try some type of play like we did at the end of the game last week against the Jets. I think it was like 3rd and 5, and instead of just running the ball and forcing them to use their last timeout, the Dolphins tried to pass that ended up not working. Run the ball. Just if it's working, run. Because, again, this is a good defense. That being said, this is my prediction for the Dolphins taking on the Saints in New Orleans. Saints don't have a great record in that dome. They haven't won in that dome. Yes, it shows that they had the one win, and when I was on Pro Media Network's channel, he even talked about it. It was a game that was played in Jacksonville that they won. It wasn't in, it was technically supposed to be a home game for the Saints, but they played it in Jacksonville because of the hurricane. So, again, that being said, take advantage of that. Take advantage of the fact that this Saints team, fantastic. Like, I really like the Saints defense. It scares me the most. But they lost to the Falcons, they lost to the Giants, and they lost to the Panthers. This is a team that can be beat. And I honestly think this is going to be a defensive game. I think the Dolphins defense is a good matchup against the Saints offense, especially now with Ian Book in there. It's a good matchup. Focus on stopping the run. Don't overlook Ian Book. And the Saints defense, 5th in run, 18th in pass, is a very good defense. I said the last thing I said was run the ball, but them being 5th and stopping the run, it's going to be hard to do. But if it's there and it's working, just continue to do it. I honestly think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think it's going to be a defensive game. I think, to me, it's going to come down to which defense makes the mistake. So, which offense of the two scores, and which defense either lets up a stupid pass for a touchdown, lets up a run for a touchdown, whatever it is, and which defense scores for that offense. This game scares me. The next 3 games scare the crap out of me, especially because we're on a 6-game winning streak. And the last time we were on a 6-game winning streak, it just didn't pan out. But I'm going to pick the Dolphins in this one. And I think it's going to be by a field goal. And I'm picking... I don't think it's going to be a bunch of field goals. I think there'll be touchdowns, because I was going to say 15-12, but that means that it's just nothing but field goals. I'm going to pick a 17-14 win, Miami. I do think there's going to be some type of scoring. That might even be high. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 10-7 win. And I'm going to pick Miami. I think Miami will pull this out. I think they're going to take it one game at a time. And I do think the amount of players that the Saints have on COVID and on their injury report, if their starting tackles don't play, I think that's what's going to be their downfall. And I think the Dolphins defense will take advantage of it. We all know how Tua is. He makes mistakes, but he always bounces back. And after him throwing that stupid pick 6, I could see him being even more smart with the ball. So I'm going to pick the Dolphins in this one. So be sure to comment below. Let me know what you guys think. If you're a Saints fan, what are some of the things you think that the Saints need to do to beat the Dolphins? And if I missed anything from the Dolphin fans of the 5 things I think, comment below. And I'm very interested to read what you guys say. And I'm going to get to you guys. Comment of the day. And this one comes from TJ Hurd. And he says, comment of the day. Do you think Xavier Howard deserved the starting Pro Bowl position? Yeah. Pro Bowl is nothing to put on your resume. Sometimes they do. Sometimes NFL players are like, I'm 9-time Pro Bowler. It's a popularity contest. When you make All-Pro, that's when you can puff your chest out a little bit. Because All-Pro is fellow football players and like fellow coaches and all this other stuff. So All-Pro means more than the Pro Bowl. But yeah, I think Xavier Howard deserved it. Over the past 3 games, Xavier Howard was targeted 9 times. He allowed 1 reception for 18 yards and an interception. Well, Doug, the past 3 games were against the Giants, the Panthers, and the Jets. Who cares? They suck. And I hear that a lot. And it makes me laugh because I listen to other channels and I'm on the internet, obviously, and I'm reading stuff, and so many people are, Dolphins are getting so lucky. Look what's going on with the Saints, and they faced the Giants, the Jets, and da-da-da-da. Look how lucky they got. And that kind of coincides with the fact that I think that Xavier Howard deserves to be in the Pro Bowl because he is playing really well the past couple of weeks. You play who is on the schedule. Is it our fault that those teams suck? No. Also, the Jets, the Bills, and the Patriots played the same exact teams except for 3. So no one's saying that about them, that they played easy teams and facing the Jets twice and facing the Panthers and facing the Falcons, facing the Jets. No one's going to them saying, oh, you got an easy schedule, Patriots. That's why you're where you are. And also, I hear a lot of people saying he only did well because he faced blah, blah, blah. Like when Tua threw 4 touchdowns. Well, it's because it was against the Falcons. That is the stupidest thing. I hate when people do that. Jets and Giants, right? You look at those two teams and you're like, they suck. The only reason why we won is because I was almost cursed. They're crappy teams. Those two teams collectively, the Giants beat the Saints and the Jets beat the Bengals and the Titans. Do you think that the Bengals and the Titans suck? Do you think the Bengals are horrible? Because the Jets beat them. So to come out and say, oh, the Jets are bad and that's the only reason we had 100 yards rushing. Well, let's go back and look at those games. Well, Derrick Henry. I don't know if Derrick Henry had 100 yards against the Titans now that I think about it, against the Jets. So for people to come out and say, oh, you only did well, any given Sunday, look how the Cardinals did against the Lions. You can tell me the Cardinals are a worse team than the Lions? I hate that. I hate when people say you have an easy schedule, and I hate when people say, oh, it's because of. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, is the way I see it. We lose to these teams. Oh, how do you lose to these teams? We win. Well, it's because you only had an easy schedule. Certain players do bad against teams. Well, why would you do bad against that team? That team sucks. They do really well. Well, that's only big. Stupid. But that's the video. That's what I got for you. Yes, again, in a nutshell, yes, I do think Xavier Howard deserves to be in the Pro Bowl. He's a popular player with Miami Dolphin fans, and yes, he got the votes, and he deserves it. So yeah, I will see you guys Monday night. I'm going to do a video Monday night after all the games that are played. If you want to know who we should be rooting for, go check out the prediction video, my Week 16 picks and predictions. I said that we should want the Raiders to beat the Broncos, but now that I think about it, we should want the Broncos to beat the Raiders. Because the Broncos have, right now, they have the same record as us, and we're above them. So I'm changing that one. We want the Broncos to beat the Raiders. So I think it'll happen? No. But that's one that I'm changing. We want the Broncos to beat the Raiders. I'll just tell you so you guys know. We wanted the 49ers to beat the Titans. That didn't happen. We want the Packers to win. We want the Cardinals to beat the Colts. We want the Bills to beat the Patriots. We want the Texans to beat the Chargers. That ain't winning. We want Cincinnati to win their game against the Ravens. We want them to win the division. We want Kansas City to win. And now we want the Broncos to beat the Raiders. So, yeah. There you go. So, I'll see you guys Sunday night, and then I'll see you Monday night for the game. But other than that, guys, like usual, stay classy. Offense up.